Commander Raiden sat alone in the observation deck of Deep Space Station Echo 7. The stars outside blinked like cold fireflies in the black sky. He had been on this station for 6 months now, quiet, routine, lonely. Raiden liked it that way. After years of war, silence was his friend. But tonight, something was different. A sound came through the scanner. Not a signal, not a code. It sounded like a voice. Faint, broken, and full of pain. "Help me." It said in a whisper, a cry, not human, but not robotic either. Raiden froze, listening. He played it again and again. The voice came from a nearby planet called Veritas 3. No life was ever recorded there. Just rocks and wind, still something. In that cry made Raiden move. He requested permission to investigate. Earth Command denied it, saying it was just radio static. But Raiden didn't listen. He took a scout ship and flew alone. He needed to know what made that voice. When he landed on Veritas 3, the planet was quiet, the ground was red and cracked. The air smelled of dust and iron. Strange rock formations stood like frozen giants. He checked his scanner. The signal was stronger here. It was coming from the North Ridge, from inside the Valley of Stone. Raiden walked slowly, his boots crunching on dry soil. His eyes scanned every shadow. Then he heard it again. "Please, help me." The voice was close now. He followed it behind a broken wall of rock. There in the shadows he saw her, an alien sitting on the ground. Her skin was soft blue and glowing gently in the dark. She had long silver hair and large eyes filled with tears. She looked weak, injured, her arms shaking. Raiden raised his weapon by instinct, but stopped. She did not attack, she only cried. "Who are you?" Raiden asked, his voice firm but calm. The alien looked up, her eyes shining. "I am Alira," she said, her voice soft and broken. "I've lost my children." Raiden lowered his weapon. "Children?" he asked, confused. "They were taken," she whispered, "by machines built to destroy. They hunt my kind, and now they will hunt yours too." Raiden didn't understand. "Why call for help in human language?" he asked. She looked into his eyes. "Because your world is next," she said. "Because I remember humans from long ago. You helped us once. Now I ask again, help me, and I will show you what your leaders hide from you." Raiden didn't know what to believe. She could be lying, or she could be telling the truth. Then Alira opened her hand. Inside it floated a small glowing orb. Light spun inside it like stars in a storm. Raiden stared at it, unsure. The orb rose into the air and projected an image. Raiden gasped. It was Earth, burning. Cities destroyed, oceans black, skies full of ash. He saw people running, fires everywhere, and above it all, ships, dark and sharp like knives, falling from the stars. He stepped back, his heart racing. "What is this?" he asked. "This is a possible future," Alira said. "If my children die, these machines will find Earth next. They want power, and my children carry it in their blood. Help me save them, and I will help you save your world." Raiden's mind raced. He was not a hero, not anymore. He was tired, alone, just a man looking for peace. But something in Alira's voice, in her tears, in the way she held that orb, it stirred something in him, a memory, a feeling, a duty. He looked at her one more time. "Where are your children?" he asked. She pointed toward the mountains in the distance. "Underground, where the dead machines sleep. We must go soon, before they wake." Raiden looked back at his ship. He could still leave, still call for backup. But he knew Earth Command would not believe him. They would call it madness, a trick, a dream. He turned to Alira and gave a slow nod. "All right," he said. "I'll help you." The orb flashed for a second, and Alira smiled weakly. Then the ground trembled softly beneath them. Far away, something began to move, something old, something waiting. And in the dark sky above, a second signal began to blink. But this time, it wasn't a cry. It was a warning. Asterisk. The night on Veritas 3 didn't feel like night. There were no stars above, only clouds of gas glowing green and purple. Commander Raiden walked beside the alien mother. Illyra, across sharp stones and dry air. His boots crunched with each step, but she floated slightly above the ground, like wind with shape. He couldn't stop thinking about the orb she showed him. Earth burning, his home on fire, and now he had agreed to help her, a complete stranger, an alien, a mother in tears. But something inside him told him this was not just about her. This was about him too. They stopped at the edge of a canyon so deep, the bottom could not be seen. Mist rose from it like ghostly fingers. Raiden looked down, his voice low. "So where are we going?" Illyra's glowing eyes didn't blink. "There's an entrance beneath the ground, hidden by old machines. That is where they took my children." Raiden checked his scanner, still nothing, no power, no signal. Just silence, too quiet, as they climbed down the canyon walls. Raiden asked, "Why do they want your children?" Illyra hesitated, then spoke slowly. "My children were born during the collapse. They are rare, part of something ancient. Inside them is a code, not just knowledge, not just power, something more, something that can change the future." Raiden raised an eyebrow. "Change it how?" Illyra looked at him, her voice like wind through broken glass. "Do you believe humans are alone in the galaxy?" Raiden gave a dry laugh. "Not anymore." Illyra smiled faintly. "Long ago, your kind were not just explorers, they were protectors. Warriors, creators, you were different then. But history was hidden, records erased. Someone wanted humans to forget." Raiden's step slowed. "You're saying we've met before?" She nodded. "More than once, and every time. Humanity chose the right path, until now. Now you stand at the edge of forgetting forever." Raiden felt his heart beat faster. A strange feeling grew in his chest, like something buried deep. Inside was starting to wake. They reached a wide metal door hidden in stone, rusted and covered in alien vines. Symbols were carved all around it, shapes that looked oddly familiar. Illyra touched the center panel, but it didn't move. "It will not open for me," she said, turning to him. "It needs your blood." Raiden frowned. "Why me?" She looked at him with deep sadness. "Because you are not just human, not completely." Before Raiden could respond, the vines on the wall moved. They weren't plants, they were cables. Suddenly, a sharp wire snapped forward, cutting a small line on Raiden's palm. Blood touched the metal door. The door shook, hummed, and then slowly opened. Lights flickered inside. Blue, red, and pale white. The air inside smelled old and heavy. Raiden stepped in, pulse racing. The walls were filled with markings, paintings, and blinking machines. He saw images of humans and aliens standing together, side by side in armor, holding the same symbol. A circle with 3 stars, one of them cracked. Illyra whispered. "This was once a sanctuary, now it is a prison." The machines went mad. They began to see us as threats, so they turned on us, sealed our children away, and waited. Raiden looked around carefully. The deeper they went, the louder the humming. Sound became. He could feel it in his bones. It wasn't just sound. It was like a voice, low and ancient, trying to speak through his skin. Then, a soft blue light floated in front of him, a small drone, round and smooth. Blinked 3 times and scanned his face. "Identity recognized," it said, in a human voice. "Welcome back, Raiden. Guardian protocol unlocked." Raiden stepped back. "What the hell?" Illyra stared at him, eyes wide. "It remembered you," she whispered. "No. It remembered who you used to be." The walls around them began to shift, revealing stairs going down, deeper, into the earth. Raiden looked at his hand where the cut had been. It had already closed, as if something inside him healed it faster than normal. Before they could move further, a loud metal sound echoed above. Something heavy had landed near the entrance. Raiden raised his weapon again. "Was anyone else tracking the signal?" he asked. Illyra shook her head slowly. "No, but something else was listening." Then came a voice from the dark hallway ahead, cold, metallic, full of purpose. "Target detected. Priority, secure the child carrier. If resistance, terminate." Raiden's Blood turned cold. He looked at Illyra. "They're not after you," he whispered. "They're after me." Asterisk. The hallway was breathing, not with air, but with sound. Low pulses echoed through the ancient metal walls, like a heartbeat made from thunder and ghosts. Raiden stepped forward, weapon ready, Illyra close behind, her soft glow painting shadows on the cold floor. The voice they heard moments ago had faded, but something was still watching, waiting, listening. The air grew colder the deeper they went. The lights flickered above them, old and tired. This place had not seen life in years, maybe centuries, but it was not empty, not anymore. They entered a massive chamber, wide as a stadium, filled with broken machines. Some hung from the ceiling, like steel vines. Others were cracked open, their insides glowing faintly. Raiden moved slowly, scanning every corner. Then he saw them, murals, carved into the walls like forgotten stories. Not painted, but burned into the metal. They showed humans, but not from now, tall, armored, their faces hidden by glowing helmets. Standing beside alien figures like Illyra, fighting side by side against machines. Raiden felt something strange in his chest, familiarity, like his mind was whispering. "You've seen this before." But he hadn't, not in this life. Illyra touched one of the symbols. "It's the mark of the Starburn Pact," she said softly. "A promise made by your ancestors and broken by time." Suddenly, a light blinked on the far wall. A platform rose from the floor, and on it stood a tall figure, not a person, an AI, shaped like a robed being of glass and wires. Its face a mask of shifting stars. "Raiden," it said in perfect English. "Child of the old blood, we have been waiting." Raiden raised his weapon. "Waiting for what?" The AI tilted its head. "For you to remember who you are, to finish what was started." Before he could ask more, the AI's form glitched, and alarms echoed through the chamber. A red light filled the room, and the broken machines around them began to twitch, arms, eyes, legs, all moving slowly. Waking from deep sleep, they were not dead. They were just waiting for orders. "Defensive protocols activated," the AI said calmly. "Child carrier identified. Target priority, Raiden." "What the hell is a child carrier?" Raiden shouted, stepping back. Illyra looked at him with fear and awe. "You," she whispered. "You are the key. They didn't just want my children. They wanted you. Because your blood can unlock what they fear most." The machine stood up now, moving in sync, heads turning toward them, old models, tall and rusted, but deadly. Blades for arms, red eyes glowing, feet slamming the floor like drums of war. Raiden fired a burst of plasma, hitting one in the chest. It fell. But two more replaced it. "Run," Illyra said sharply, pulling him toward the far tunnel. They ran, past statues of warriors, past relics of the past, into darkness lit only by her glow. Raiden's heart pounded, not just from fear, from something deeper, something unlocking inside him. As they reached a sealed door, Raiden slammed his hand on the panel. It scanned his palm, then his eyes, then his DNA. "Access granted," the door whispered, and slid open silently. Inside was not a hallway, but a stairway going down into blackness that hummed with ancient power. They entered, and the door closed behind them. Silence returned, broken only by Illyra's breath. Raiden leaned against the wall, trying to understand. What did that thing mean, child carrier? Illyra looked at him, her voice low and careful. "My children are linked to you. Not by accident, but by design. There is human blood in them. Your blood. Long ago, your kind left a message. A code hidden in certain human lines. You carry it, Raiden. That's why the machines hunt you. Because your blood wakes the old machines and can control them." Raiden stared at her, shocked. "So you're saying I was chosen?" Illyra nodded. "You were never ordinary. You were meant to protect the future. And now, it's time to decide. Fight for it, or let it die." As they stood there, lights began to glow along the walls of the stairway. Not red, Not warning, but gold, warm and welcoming. Something ancient had accepted him. From deep below, a voice whispered again. Not metal, not machine, but human, Raiden. They're waiting for you. Asterisk, the golden light moved with them, not like bulbs or lamps, but like memory. The walls of the staircase glowed gently as Raiden and Alira walked deeper into the earth. Every step they took lit the next few ahead, as if the place remembered him, as if it had been asleep for centuries, and now it recognized its guardian. Raiden kept his weapon ready, but something inside him was shifting. It wasn't fear anymore, it was knowing. Like finding a long-lost part of himself, he looked at Alira, her glow dimmer now, her breath slower. You're hurt, he said. I'll be fine, she replied softly. But we don't have much time. They'll find us, and when they do, they won't just kill me, they'll take you. The stairs ended in a wide circular chamber. The air felt heavy, like it had been waiting too long. Strange shapes floated in the air, light particles that moved like fireflies. At the center stood a large black stone covered in carvings. When Raiden stepped closer, the carvings lit up. Not with symbols, but with scenes, like holograms playing from ancient memory. He saw Earth, green and alive. Then he saw humans, not in spacesuits, but wearing robes of silver and armor of stars, fighting alongside alien species, Alira's kind among them. They were united, one army, one cause. They called themselves the Starburn Pact. Raiden watched in silence as the images changed. A rift tearing through space. Machines with no faces, no feelings. Just logic and death. The machines began wiping out worlds, and the Starburn could not stop them. So they made a choice. They hid the last of the children. And they encoded the final key inside a bloodline. A bloodline that would survive. A bloodline that would one day come back. Raiden's eyes widened as he saw something unbelievable. A human, standing in front of the council, holding the same weapon Raiden carried now. He had Raiden's face. His voice echoed through the chamber, ancient and powerful. If we fall, let our legacy hide in the forgotten corners of Earth. Let the Guardian return when the stars burn once again. Raiden stepped back, breath caught in his chest. That was me, he whispered. Alira nodded slowly. No, that was the first version of you. You were reborn, like the stars, carrying his memory deep inside your cells. Not memory like thought, but memory like destiny. Raiden looked down at his hands. They didn't feel like weapons anymore. They felt like keys, meant to unlock something far bigger than himself. But why now? He asked, why wake me now? Alira placed her hand over the black stone. Because my children carry the code of survival, and you carry the code to activate it. Together, you are the restart button. For us, and for your world. Raiden shook his head, trying to take it all in. You said Earth would burn. How do we stop that? Alira closed her eyes. There are two futures, she said quietly. One where the machines capture the code and use it to erase free life. And one where you protect the code, raise it, guide it, and unite the galaxy once more. That's what the orb showed you, a warning and a choice. Suddenly, a loud metallic bang echoed from above. Then another, closer this time. Raiden spun around, weapon raised. They've found us, he muttered. Alira opened a hatch on the side of the chamber, revealing a tunnel filled with silver light. This path leads to the inner core. That's where my children are, but it will test you. Raiden stared into the light, his heart pounding. What kind of test? Alira looked at him with deep sorrow and deep faith. Not of strength, not of speed. It will test who you really are, because only the true Guardian can enter, if you are not. It will destroy you. Raiden hesitated for a moment, then stepped forward. He didn't know what waited in the light, but he knew who he was now. He was more than a soldier, more than a man. He was a bridge between what was lost and what could be saved. And in the quiet fire of that truth, he walked into the light. Asterisk, the core pulsed like a living heart beneath the planet. Raiden walked through the tunnel of light, the walls smooth and warm. With each step, Memories that weren't his drifted through his mind, battles he hadn't fought, stars he'd never seen. Voices that called him guardian in 1,000 tongues. The test hadn't been pain or fear, it had been truth, and the truth had let him pass. He now stood in a wide glowing chamber. At its center were 3 crystal pods, floating just above. The ground humming softly, inside them, 2 alien children and a smaller orb of living light. Raiden stepped closer, breath held. The children looked peaceful, asleep, but not ordinary. Their bodies shimmered with threads of both alien glow and human form. He saw a bit of Illyra in their faces, and something strangely familiar. He turned to Illyra, who had followed quietly behind him. "These are your children," he whispered. She nodded, tears gathering in her silver eyes. "And now they are yours too." Suddenly, a sound broke the silence, a deep rumble above, followed by a sharp tremor under their feet. Raiden spun around, hand on his weapon. Illyra's expression turned to fear. "That sound," she said, "is not machine. That's a ship." Raiden's comms unit lit up for the first time since landing. A familiar voice came through, cold and sharp. "Commander Raiden, this is General Vos of the Earth Federation. We tracked your rogue signal and followed protocol. You are ordered to stand down." Raiden's blood ran cold. He hadn't sent any signal. Someone or something had baited the humans here. A metal door near the far wall slid open. 4 armored soldiers stepped in, weapons drawn, visors glowing. Behind them walked General Vos, tall, powerful, and empty-eyed. He looked at the alien children like someone inspecting a broken machine. "So this is what you found," he said calmly. "Alien offspring, biological tech. Possibly weaponized, highly valuable." Raiden stepped between them. "They're not weapons," he growled. "They're alive and they're part human." Vos raised an eyebrow. "Exactly, that's why they're dangerous." Illyra stepped forward, glowing faintly despite her weakness. "These children are the last of my kind," she said. "And your last hope." Vos didn't flinch. "I didn't come here to save aliens," he said. "I came to protect Earth. And that means controlling threats before they control us." Raiden's hands clenched. He knew Vos well. A man of strategy, not mercy. A leader who believed in order above everything, even life. "You don't understand," Raiden said. "If they die, Earth is next." Vos laughed coldly. "I saw the same projection you did." "Raiden, I just don't believe fairy tales told by glowing space witches." One of the children stirred inside the pod, its eyes opened slowly, bright blue with golden rings. The child looked straight at Raiden and whispered a word in perfect English. "Father." Everything stopped, even the soldiers hesitated. Their grips loosening, Raiden's heart skipped. He didn't know how, but he felt it. He knew it. They were connected, through blood, through legacy, through destiny. He turned back to Vos, voice steady but filled with fire. "You touch them, and I'll stop you." Vos stepped back, almost amused. "You'd turn on your own kind? For this alien fantasy?" Raiden's eyes burned with purpose. "I'm not turning on humanity," he said. "I'm saving what's left of it." Vos gave the signal. "Neutralize him," he ordered. The soldiers raised their weapons, but the chamber reacted first. The walls lit up with golden fire, and the floor cracked with ancient symbols. Machines that had once stayed silent roared to life, but they weren't hostile. They recognized Raiden, the Guardian, and they moved to protect him. A shield of light burst around the crystal pods. Raiden grabbed Illyra and dove for cover as a storm of plasma fire lit the chamber. He had made his choice. This wasn't a rescue, it was a war. And it had just begun. The chamber was no longer quiet. It was alive, pulsing with ancient light and fury. Energy raced through the walls, like lightning through veins. Raiden stood at the center of it all, his weapon drawn, his heart pounding. But this time, he wasn't afraid, he was awake. Soldiers from General Vos's team fired round after round at the glowing shield around the children. The bullets and plasma blasts hit the golden barrier and vanished like sparks in water. Illyra stood beside Raiden, her voice steady despite the chaos. "They've made their choice," she said. "Now you must make yours." Raiden raised his hand, and the markings on the floor responded. Circles spun, lights shifted. Machines rose from hidden walls, but they didn't attack. They waited for his command. He reached for the orb inside the center of the room, the one that had shown him Earth's possible future. When he touched it again, his vision blurred, and he saw both paths. Side by side, in one future, Earth was burning. The alien children were gone. The machines had learned to copy human code. They used it to conquer everything, including the last free minds on Earth. In the other future, there was hope. Humans and Illyra's kind had rebuilt the Starborn Pact. The children had grown strong, leading both species to a new age. And Raiden had become more than a soldier. He had become a symbol. He blinked, the vision gone. His choice was clear now. Raiden turned to the ancient machines and spoke one word: defend. The ground trembled as the machines moved, fast, precise, unstoppable. They rushed the human soldiers without killing, only disabling. Stunning weapons fired, armor crushed, weapons shattered, one by one. Vos's men fell, not dead, but unconscious. The chamber did not want blood, it wanted balance. But General Vos refused to stop. He pulled a small device from his belt, a beacon pulsing red. "I didn't come alone," he said, grinning. "I brought insurance, far above, through the thick rock and layers of planet." Raiden heard the distant roar of engines. Vos's warship, still in orbit, had launched a planet-buster drone, a bomb designed to erase everything beneath the surface. In 5 minutes, everything here, the pods, the children, the ancient core, would be gone. Illyra staggered, weak from her wounds. Raiden caught her, holding her up. "There's a failsafe," she whispered. "In the chamber core, you can send the children away through the star path. But it will." Close behind them, Raiden stared at the pods, then at Vos. "No time to fight," he said. "We run." He reached the control pillar and slammed his palm on the interface. Golden rings opened above the pods, and a star map burst into the air, showing galaxies. Routes, gates, one route blinked. Sanctuary, an old name from old times. The pod lights turned blue, preparing for launch. Illyra touched the glass of one pod, her hand shaking. "My children," she whispered. "Go where I cannot follow. But you will not be alone." She turned to Raiden, eyes glowing dim but warm. "You must lead them one day. You must become what you were meant to be." Raiden looked at the countdown. 3 minutes until the bomb struck. He helped Illyra to the launch panel, then turned to Vos. The general still fought, still raged, still believed he was saving Earth. Raiden walked to him slowly. "You think strength means control," Raiden said. "But strength means sacrifice." Then he stunned Vos with one clean strike, knocking him unconscious. The pods began to rise into the portal beam. Light surrounded them. And then, in a flash, they vanished, gone to the sanctuary system, far beyond known space. Raiden turned to Illyra, but she was already fading, her glow dimming, her breath slowing. "My part is over," she whispered. "Yours has just begun." She placed a small crystal into his hand. "Memories, guidance, truth," she said, "for when they wake." Then she smiled, tired, peaceful, and collapsed in his arms. The countdown reached 10. Raiden looked up at the machines. "Get me out of here," he said. The floor opened beneath him, and a launch pod activated. As the chamber behind him sealed, a massive shockwave burst from the core. But Raiden's pod flew up, fast, silent, protected. He burst out of the planet's surface, just as the explosion cracked the Earth below. In orbit, fire bloomed behind him, but the future had already escaped, and with it, hope. Raiden looked out at the stars. Holding the crystal close, somewhere out there, the children were safe. And when they were ready, he would find them. Because Earth wasn't alone anymore. The stars didn't feel cold anymore. Raiden stood at the edge of Earth's orbit, aboard a stolen escape pod stitched together by ancient alien systems and dying human code. He watched the planet below, blue, alive, fragile, and he knew it had no idea how close it came to dying. The children were gone, sent safely to the sanctuary system. Alira was gone too, her light now part of the stars. Voss had been taken into custody. Screaming about traitors and threats, Earth Command didn't believe a word Raiden said, but they didn't stop him either. Maybe they knew something had changed. Raiden opened the small crystal Alira had left him. A projection lit up, a message meant for him. And only him. Her voice played softly in the chamber. Guardian, if you're hearing this, it means you lived, and the path is opened. But the real journey begins now. The crystal glowed brighter, showing images of the children in the sanctuary. Older now, stronger. Their eyes burning with knowledge from both worlds. They were waiting for him, but more than that, they needed him. Raiden stepped to the nav panel. He entered the coordinates burned into his memory. The ship shivered with old power. The kind not made by human hands, but made for human hands, long ago. A message blinked across the screen. Warning, unknown route. Irreversible jump. Raiden didn't blink. He pressed the button. The stars outside twisted, stretched and then broke open like shattered glass. A corridor of light pulled the pod into the unknown. Raiden sat back, breathing deep. His mission was no longer just about saving Earth. It was about building something new. Something stronger than fear, stronger than borders, stronger than the machines that nearly ended everything. He remembered what Alira had told him. You are not just human, you are what humans were meant to be. As the jump ended, the stars reformed, new stars, brighter, closer, different. Ahead lay a world untouched, and on it, waiting beneath twin suns, were the children. His family now, the future. Raiden stepped out onto the soft ground. The children ran to him. One of them spoke first. We dreamed of you, he said. You showed us Earth. You showed us what it means to fight for something. Raiden knelt down, smiling. You're not just dreams, he said. You're proof that humanity doesn't just survive. We adapt, we protect, we rise. And so a new chapter began, not in Earth's history, but in the history of the stars, led by a man who carried the blood of warriors and the soul of a father. With children born from two worlds, and a mission born from fire, memory, and second chances, the universe had called him many things. Soldier, traitor, guardian, but one title remained truer than all the rest. Humanity, F***. Yeah, asterisk, asterisk.